This is day 12 of Advent of Cyber 2023, and this challenge is called Sleighing Threats One Layer at a Time. Defense in Depth. With the chaos of the recent merger, the company security landscape has turned into the Wild West. Servers and endpoints, once considered fortresses, now resemble neglected outposts on the frontier, vulnerable to any attacker. As McConey Bell sifts through the reports, a sense of urgency gnaws at her. This is a ticking time bomb, she mutters to herself. It's clear they need a strategy, and fast. Determined, McConey Bell rises from her chair, her mind racing with possibilities. Time to suit up, team. We're going deep, she declares, her tone a blend of resolve and excitement. Defense in Depth isn't just a strategy, it's our lifeline. We're going to fortify every layer, from the physical servers in the basement to the cloud floating above us, every byte, every bit. In this task, we will be hopping into McConey Bell's shoes and exploring how the Defense in Depth strategy can help strengthen the environment's overall security posture. So the learning objectives for this are to learn about defense in depth, learn about basic endpoint hardening, and to learn about simple boot to root methodology. So with this challenge we need to start up the virtual machine, and then we also need to go and start up the attack box, or if you're using IDP you can use that as well, but I'm not, so start the attack box. The machine we'll be playing around with is a vulnerable by design Ubuntu running a Jenkins server that's been configured for ease of use, allowing flexibility for users in exchange for security. Before we get it started, we need to boot up two machines, which we've already done, and if you want you can SSH into the machine once it is started up. Oh yeah, so you would also need to use the TryHackMe OpenVPN to connect to it through that, but we aren't, so we don't need to do that. Guided walkthrough of the attack chain. As discussed earlier, we'll be dealing with a server that is vulnerable by design. It contains misconfigurations and has been implemented with poor or simply non-existent security practices. This part of the task will walk you through one of the many ways we can get elevated privileges on the server. Skipping the enumeration part, we can access Jenkins via Firefox on its default port, which is 8080. You should be greeted by a page that looks something like this. So, got Jenkins there, and we have one automated task called backup. Getting web shell. We instantly gain access to the general workings of Jenkins. Explore the features that we can play with, and you'll see that there's a way to execute arbitrary scripts for administration, troubleshooting, diagnostics on the machine. On checking this further, you'll see this can be used to spawn a web shell. Click on the Manage Jenkins button on the left side of the page, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see the options we want. Script Console. Script Console is a feature that accepts Groovy, a type of programming language for the Java platform. Let's jump straight in and try to establish a reverse shell using this feature. The example below is using an edited version of the script. Just in time, our attack box has started up, so we will go to the web browser, we will grab this URL, copy it, paste it into the clipboard here, and then we will then paste it into the URL here. And then what we need to do was go to Manage Jenkins, and then it was Script Console, was it? Yep, Script Console right there. Okay, we've now got that open. Now what we need to do is copy the script that's there, paste into my machine by opening the little tab on the left and going clipboard, and now we can paste it directly into here. And attacking machine IP here. So that is the IP we put in for this website, so 10.10.194.115. And let's see, do we just run that? Copy the script and paste it into Script Console. Remember to change the host value to your attacking machine's IP. Actually no, this is going to be the IP of the attack box. So what we'll do, so the IP on this attack box is 95156. 95, I already forgot what I said it was. Okay, 95156. And then before we submit that, we need to run nc dash, is it MVLP? Is that it? Yep, MVLP. And then port 6996, and that's defined here in the script. So we'll run that. Then I assume once both the reverse shell script and the netcat listener are ready, you can press the run button at the bottom. So we now, at the bottom here, click run to run this, and I assume, actually that doesn't seem to have worked as expected. Okay, yeah, that didn't work. 10.10.95.156, that's correct. Is there something wrong with the command we copied? Let's just copy that over again to make sure that looks correct. Maybe you just need to try running it again. Okay, what's the error that's giving? Oh, okay. We've got the quote. Now let's run it, because that looks more like it. So go back to our terminal, and we've got the connection. So you should see an established connection in your attacking terminal, and you can test the shell by sending some typical Linux commands such as id and who am I. So just verify, who am I? And we are Jenkins. Cool. Getting the Tracy user and root. Now that we have a web shell with the Jenkins user, we can explore the server's contents for things that we can use to improve our shell and perhaps elevate our privileges. Check the usual folders and you'll be able to find an interesting bash script file in the op scripts folder named backup.sh. Check the contents of the file and you'll find a simple implementation of backing up the essential components of Jenkins and then sending it to the folder home Tracy backups via SCP. The file also contains the credentials of the user Tracy. So we will do that. So ls / was it opt scripts backup. So we'll now run cat opt scripts / backup.sh, and we found the user Tracy, then the password 13_1n_33. So what we then want to do, we want to SSH into Tracy at the IP address of the attack box, so 10.10.194.115, and then we'll ask. Oh right, we need to do that in a new terminal. This is completely separate things. So SSH Tracy at 10.10.194.115. Yes, and then the password, which is 13_1n_13. Okay, apparently did that wrong. 13_1n_30. And there we go, we're now in. So let's take a look at what we need to do now. So enter the password when prompted and you'll be logged in. Finally, we can use sudo-l to find out what commands users permitted to perform using sudo. So sudo-l, and then we need to enter the password again, 13_1n_33. And apparently we can run all commands. So the all line in the output essentially says that all commands can be performed by Tracy using sudo. This means that the user is created with the inherently privileged access. As such, we can just enter the command sudo and we are root. So that is nice and easy. Now root on the machine. So defensive depth and its role in hardening. From the attacking point of view, we were able to get straightforward root access to the server. This is bad news for the defenders since the goal is to make it as hard for the attackers as possible to get what they want. In the next section of this task, we will establish defensive layers that aim to work together, with each layer making it more complicated for the attackers to achieve their aims. Defensive depth is all about creating defensible environments, whereby security controls are meant to deter the bad actors from achieving their main goal. Notice that the emphasis isn't on never getting compromised, rather it's on making sure that the bad actors don't succeed. This way, even if one or more defensive layers gets bypassed, the stacking alone of these layers makes it much harder for the bad actors. Sometimes this is actually enough for bad actors to try and minimize their losses and move on to easier targets. So, guided hardening of the server. Going back to our attack exercise from earlier, we discovered that root is very easy to achieve because there is full trust within the server environment. So, removal of Tracy from the pseudo group. We should always follow the principle of least privilege, especially for systems in production. In this example, the user Tracy is made in such a way that it has the same permissions as the admin. This gives the user more flexibility, however it also runs the risk of misuse, not only by the owner of the account, but also by the others who gain access to this account, as we did. To remove Tracy from the sudo group, we use the following command, sudo del user Tracy sudo. So we run that, so I assume we run that in this shell, so sudo del user Tracy sudo. So we remove Tracy, and to confirm, we do sudo -l-u Tracy. So user Tracy is not allowed to run sudo on Jenkins. Changes to the Tracy account won't affect the current active session, so we can test them by logging in again as Tracy on a new terminal on our attacking machine. That change alone made all the difference between achieving root and staying with the user Tracy. Now the attacker is left with 3 immediate options. Further enumerate the server for a possible route to root without the user Tracy, find a way to move laterally within the system to a user with a possible route to root access, find a different target. Hardening SSH. The path to root has been made more complicated for the attacker, but that doesn't mean we should stop here. Attackers can be very creative in finding all sorts of ways to accomplish privileged access, to accomplish privileged escalation. Any additional layers will make it a lot harder for bad actors to achieve their objectives. Remember that as attackers, we were able to use SSH in this server to move laterally from a low-level user from a low-level user. In light of this, we can disable password-based SSH logins, so we can thwart the possibility of an SSH login via compromised plain text credentials that are just lying around. So in the admin shell, go to etc ssh sshd config. So we'll do vim etc sshd config. I think that's what it was. Yep. And what we are looking for, password authentication, yes, that needs to be changed to no. So right there, we need to remove that hash, and that should be fine. Is there anything else that needs to be changed? Alright, I need to change it to no. So remove the hash and change it to no. Next, find the line that says include, so we don't want to include any other config, we just want this one. So whereabouts is that? So at the top here, we want to comment this out, like so. And so we need to save the file, then enter the command sudo systemctl restart ssh. So we'll quit from that. Sudo systemctl restart ssh. Submit that. So in the example below, the egrep command shows what the lines within the file should look like. You can use the same command to see if you successfully edited the file. You should see the effect immediately when you log out of tracing in your attacking machine. Try logging in again via SSH. So it will be denied and asked for a public. It's worth noting that applying this hardening step assumes that there are other ways for users to log into the system, admin account included, and it usually involves the setup of a passwordless SSH login. However, for our purpose, we can opt not to do that anymore. Stronger password policies. Another pivot point emphasized in our attack exercise earlier was a plaintext password discovery that led to SSH access to a higher privileged user. Two immediate things are apparent here. The password is weak and may be susceptible to a brute force attack, and the user employed bad password practices, putting plaintext credentials on a script and leaving it lying around for anyone with the server access to see. We can apply a stronger password policy, requiring the user to change their password and make it compliant on their next login. However, it's solely up to the user to prevent bad password practices. Further, plaintext credentials, despite following a strong password policy, may still be used to move laterally within the web shell access they get initially. Care really should be exercised when dealing with secrets, especially ones that belong to higher privileged accounts. Promoting zero trust. Once we've applied all the hardening steps discussed, you'll notice that we're able to patch many of the vulnerabilities that we initially exploited to get to root. In terms of the attack methodology discussed earlier at least, we're back in the web shell that served as our initial foothold in the system, and it's accessible as a result of a Jenkins implementation that assumes full trust within the environment. As such, it's fitting that the last hardening step we will apply in the server is one that promotes zero trust. Instead of opening up the workings of the platform to everyone in the environment, this change will allow just those who have access to the platform. In the admin terminal, proceed to Jenkins home directory using the command cd var lib jenkins. So we'll go cd var lib jenkins. Here you will see two versions of the Jenkins config, config.xml and config backup. Fortunately for us, the administrator kept a backup of the original configuration file before implementing the current one. As such, it would be more straightforward for us to revert it back to the original by removing the comments in the XML file. For reference, the syntax is signified by exclamation dash dash right after the opening bracket and dash dash right before the closing bracket. Anything in between is commented out. So we are going to vim into, actually first we'll look at what files are there, and here are the config ones. So we'll do vim config.xml.back, and what are we looking for? We're looking for, so there is authorization strategy and then security realm. So we want to remove the comments from that. So I see authorization strategy just there. So we'll remove those two, and we will remove this. Oops, wrong one. And then there's security realm. So I think that is all we had to do. So then it wants us to first exit, remove config.xml. Then it wants us to copy config.xml.backup to config.xml. And then it wants us to sudo systemctl restart Jenkins. Okay, so it's now restarting Jenkins. Once that's done, you'll see that unlike before, the inner workings of Jenkins are not accessible. It should be noted here that fresh installs of Jenkins feature a login page by default. So if we now go back to this, we now see a login screen instead of going straight into the page. Okay, so in conclusion, defensive layers don't need to be flashy. You can accomplish a lot with one-liners and simple implementations of security best practices. This is exactly what we have done throughout this task, addressing a specific exploitable vulnerability each time. This task is a simple demonstration of how it works in the real world. Each hardening step adds a defensive layer, and these layers work together to make a more defensible environment. Exploit 1 or 2, and you're still relatively defensible. That's because the next layer is there to make it harder for the bad actors to succeed in getting what they want. Defense in depth doesn't stop here. The next step is setting up tools and sensors that would give your defensive teams visibility over your environment, the output of which can be used to create automated detection mechanisms for suspicious behavior, but that's a discussion for another time. So the epilogue: great work team, says McConneybell, her eyes gleaming with pride. We've laid down the foundations of a robust defense. But remember, this is just the beginning. The cyber world is ever evolving, and so must we. Stay sharp, stay curious. The team nods, a sense of accomplishment and readiness evident in their postures. They are no longer just reacting, they are anticipating, ready to tackle whatever challenges lay ahead in the ever-changing cyber terrain. McConneybell grabs a jacket, her thoughts already on the next challenge. Tomorrow, we rise again. For now, rest well team, you've earned it. Okay, so we've now got the answers below to do, so Jenkins is on port 8080, and the password for the user 13_1n_33. So what's the root flag? So in the root, we will go to, do we want to go to cd root? Oh, right there, cd root. So cat/root flag.txt, and we have this value right here. So we will copy that, then open up the tab on the side here, and copy that. Now I'll place it into here. What is the error message when you log in as Tracy again and try sudo-l after it's removed from the sudoers group? So we didn't actually try that. So let's see if we can... Okay, we'll come back to this, but we'll go into the following ones. What's the SSH flag? Apparently in SSH config file there was a flag, so let's go back to where we modified the configuration file. And apparently there's a flag in here. I assume it's either at the very bottom or the very top. Okay, it's not at the bottom, so maybe at the top. Nope, I don't see the flag at all, so I guess we'll just need to slowly go through this line by line. Okay, that looks like it. Right here. Need to secure this secure shell. So copy that, grab it from here, and add it to there. And now the Jenkins flag, so safe to assume that's probably a similar thing. So we will go back to where we were in the Jenkins shell. We need to change it to vim config.xml, and we need to find the flag. So I guess same thing again, we'll just slowly go through it. Okay, well I don't see a flag in here. Okay, maybe we should look at the hint. Okay, well apparently it is in there. Okay, so I had to look up what flag is meant to be in this file. So apparently it seems like we should have grabbed the flag before changing it to the config.xml. We should have kept it as backup because there's meant to be a comment right here with the flag. So that's annoying. So guess what, only thing I can really do now is just write the flag in without actually doing this because, I mean, it's gone from there. So the flag for this is full trust, has no with a 0, place, in with 1, then security. Actually that's a 1 as well, so let's omit that. Now, what is the error message when you log in as Tracy again and try sudo-l after its removal from the sudoers group? So what I'm hoping we can do, it might be another situation where we can't do this because we've already done it, but I'm hoping as root we can switch to Tracy. So su Tracy. Okay, good, we can. So now we just need to do sudo-l and that password 13_1n_33. Sorry, user Tracy may not run sudo on Jenkins. So we'll copy that, grab that from here, and we will paste that in. Okay, cool. So that is day 12 of Advent of Cyber 2023. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you can watch me complete the rest of these challenges.